Thanks for joining us on another episode of The Grind. Here's your host, JB.
Hey, welcome to another episode of The Grind. Listen, guys, I don't know what it takes for people that haven't watched wrestling, and specifically that haven't watched App State wrestling, to make the decision just one time to either attend the event live at Varsity Gym or watch it wherever you're at, whatever you're doing. You can watch them on your phone, however you may watch it. But I'm telling you right now, if you missed Sunday's event in Chattanooga, I hate it for you. That was absolutely an up and down of emotions as an App State fan from every end of the spectrum. From the first start of it was obviously being a fan and following App State wrestling. Had some doubt. You get to the middle of our lineup that we're used to being good at, feeling a little bit better. You get towards the end again and having a little bit more doubt, and then the biggest guy on the team steps out on the mat and has to pin to win. Pin to win. Like the pressure doesn't get any more on somebody than having to pin to win the duel to still stay in the running for the conference championship. And that's exactly what Mike Burchell did. Down in Chattanooga, we talked about it. These guys have been battling since the 70s. Right? Like this is the rivalry of App State and wrestling for decades. We knew it was going to be tough. Coach will tell you every time, it doesn't matter how good of season either program is having, facing each other is always tough. And Sunday we knew wasn't going to be any different. I mean, it was going to be a battle no matter where it was at. And it was kind of interesting. If you keep up with wrestling, you will notice that Chattanooga's record coming into this duel was a little bit off. I don't think that they wouldn't admit it, and typically, the average wrestling fan would admit it. They haven't performed as well as they should have, or as good as they are. A little bit of coaching involved in the lineup, and those guys were in the fight. I mean, they were there to win it, and were in line to win that duel until Mike Burchell steps up. And if I'm not mistaken, we'll check in with Coach here in just a second, but if I'm not mistaken, this is his third pin against a Chattanooga opponent. So we'll get those facts and those details here in just a minute from Coach. But man, that was an amazing event, and the more exciting part about it is Sunday in Varsity Gym is going to be just as spectacular. And we'll get some of those details from Coach. Let's go check in with Coach now. Coach, holy cow, man. Can you hear us, Coach?
I can.
That was an event.
Yeah. I think obviously it was it was an exciting event if you're a fan. Maybe not so exciting if you're sitting in the coach's chair, but it was like you said, Jeremy. It was a lot of up and down emotions, and we were in a battle, and there were moments of really great great momentum, and then moments of just very deflating moments of a lack of momentum, but. Ultimately, I guess the feeling there at the end of that duel when Mike Burchell ended up getting the pin, to secure the duel for us, that was a pretty spectacular feeling. And honestly, it's probably there's very few moments that I can remember that were that dramatic in my time coaching here. That was definitely one of the ones that I'll always remember. So, whether it was kind of how the match, we felt like it would go or not, a win is a win. And, obviously anytime that we, beat Chattanooga, it's always a good day for us. And, winning's hard. It's, plain and simple, winning at a consistent level is hard. And I think sometimes people forget that, when you win consistently and you're expected to win consistently, I think people just kind of forget how hard that is to do, and so this was just a moment where, it was a hard fought win, and I think they're a lot better team than their record shows, as you mentioned. And I think there's some things that we got to do better, next time we wrestle those guys. But you know, hats off to Mike Burchell and a couple of the others that stepped up and secured the win for us.
Yeah, I will be honest with you, Coach. It's one of those. I mean, I think we said it the last time we talked, right? We said it, when you can go into a match, when you can go into a duel and win, or whatever it is, a fight. We were talking about Tony. You go into a fight, a duel, a football game, a basketball game. If you can go into that competition and not have your best game and still win, you're doing something right. Right. And I'll be honest with you, as a fan, and this is just, I don't know a damn thing about wrestling, couldn't tell you any of the techniques or anything. But as an App State fan, you're looking at that duel and you're thinking to yourself, we're going to get one of the first two, either the 125 or the 133. We're going to get to the middle of the order and we're going to score some bonus points. We're going to probably drop maybe a couple of those top weight classes, but we're going to get there, right? Like, this is going to be tough and it's going to be close, but we're going to get there. And as you said, you get there and it's not easy to win. Those first two weight classes were not easy weight classes. I mean, they took it to us. And obviously as a fan, you're sitting there thinking to yourself, man, these guys are ready. And it's not that we weren't wrestling good, but they were just really ready to try to win and beat App State at home.
Yeah. Yeah, I think too. I mean, obviously they got their back against the wall. They know that at that point, they already had one loss to Campbell, that, if they had any chance of trying to, get a share of a conference championship, they had to beat us. So there was nothing to lose, and you know how dangerous that is when you wrestle somebody that's got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
And then the bad part about for us, I think, wrestling them the week before Campbell, obviously even though we said, we've got to make sure that we're focused on this match, I think that, there probably was some focus already looking to this weekend. And it's just hard. It's hard to wrestle those two programs in back-to-back weekends. So,
without a doubt, and there's nobody else doing it, right? They didn't do it. We're the program that's facing that challenge. Coach, just running through the order real quick. Obviously, we knew that the 125 was a good opportunity for Caleb Smith. Fabian wrestles as well, right? Whatever year he's been in. He's not a top 20 wrestler for no reason in that weight class. And, I think probably the most disappointing thing for Caleb was, I mean, he had the match through to almost the end. Like, it was literally the last few moments of that 125 weight class where Fabian got the best of him.
Yeah, I mean, I think Caleb obviously was in the match to win it right to the very end, but I think honestly, if you're looking at that match, that was very uncharacteristic of Caleb. Caleb is a high-paced wrestler that likes to score a lot of points, and I talked to him after the duel. I'm like, I can't think of one match this year that you've won that you scored less than 5 points, and he was trying to win by a 3-2 score. And that's just not the way Caleb wrestles, and I felt like he kind of wrestled a little bit into that slower pace match, which I think favored the Chattanooga wrestler at 125. So, I think he just got caught up in just trying to get the win. Obviously, the team race was at stake, and so I think that made him kind of maybe wrestle a little bit different. And then he went out and got the first takedown, and just obviously was trying to protect the lead. And I think he learned from it. I think it was a good learning experience for him to know that he can't get away from what he does. He's going to wrestle well when he's scoring a lot of points, and he wrestles a very furious pace.
Yeah.
Anything other than that, he's probably not going to be at his best. And I think he understands that now. And so, it's not about whether he won or lost, but he just didn't wrestle the way that he needs to wrestle to be his very best. And I think he knows that and can kind of learn from it.
Coach, it's funny that you say that, because my sentiment going into the start of the second period was Caleb has slowed down Fabian. Like, as you know, Fabian is a pretty quick, fast-paced guy as well, typically. But I think he respected Caleb and his abilities so much that and this is just me going off my poor memory, I don't think Fabian had a real shot like through the first two periods. And you know just as well as I do, that's not his style typically of wrestling. So, and again, you said it you hit the nail on the head. My thought exactly was Caleb is a little bit slower and he is not as aggressive as he was. So I think Gutierrez definitely was showing Caleb respect for his skill set. Just unfortunate that he was able to get that takedown in those closing minutes or closing seconds of that third period for sure.
Yeah, I think though, they have a little bit of history. They wrestled each other at the Scuffle, and it was I think a 6-5 match, 1-point match, but there was a lot more points and a lot more action. And I remember from that match, in the third period, the Chattanooga wrestler was exhausted, and I think he purposely did not take many attempts because he wanted to have energy in the third period, and so I think that was a little bit of a calculated part on his. His strategy as well was to try to keep it, to a couple of exchanges was all he really wanted to get into.
Yeah.
Because he definitely does, typically he starts out really fast and maybe, the third period is kind of where he, hangs on to win. But he didn't wrestle. I think he had a little bit of a game plan strategy, try to keep it a low pace match. And that just that favored him, did not favor us.
Yeah, for sure. Caleb, obviously, like you said, learned. It'll be a different SoCon tournament, that's for sure, there in Boone. Palmer and Russell, 133. Another tough one, right? Like, again, kind of a lot of the same thing we've seen in the 125, Coach.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't score points, I mean, I would tell our guys all the time, it's hard to win matches at a high level if you can't score points, and I think once again, Cody went out and was just trying to get his hand raised instead of just focusing on executing skills and putting points up on the board and then just kind of seeing where it falls. That's not the way he wrestles. He doesn't wrestle 2-1 matches. That's just not what he does. And again, wrestled a little bit uncharacteristic of himself, and it burned him there at the end of that match. I think he got taken down with 4 seconds left off of his shot. And it's like. If you're not going to attack, a lot in the first, second period, why would you wait till 20 seconds left to take an attack, take an unnecessary risk? And, I think, like I said, same thing for Cody. I mean, I think obviously he learned a lesson and we still won the duel, but hopefully he'll be better for it, come this weekend and come March.
Yeah, and I do full-heartedly think that a lot of wrestlers that our opponents that these, especially the lower weight class guys, are facing, respect those endurances. Like, they know in the bottom of the third period, our wrestlers are going to be in it. Like, if you go out and put it all out on the line in the first, you're going to lose. So interesting start. Obviously down 6-0 in the beginning there. Going into Heath, Coach, Heath Gagne has got to be in the running for maybe the most improved wrestler on the program for the season. Right? Like, he is a young kid that's stepping in that starting lineup, and he is, I mean, I know he's got some losses and some licks under his belt, but when we need him to perform, he seems to understand that and really puts that team on his back and goes out there and gets it done.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's got one of the best records on the team, actually, Jeremy. I mean, the thing about Heath is that he can wrestle in all 3 positions. Mm-hmm. He's good on his feet. He's good on the mat. He's got a ton of skills. And a lot of those skills he hasn't even showcased yet. I mean, he's a dangerous wrestler. Like, he can put you on your back.
Yeah.
And I think he's just going to continue growing and maturing and getting better week after week. I think one thing you've seen a ton of improvement because he's been in our starting lineup for the last 2 months. And there's no experience like being in the fire, and I think that's really helped him to grow. And I'm excited for his continued development.
Yeah, I look forward to that young man every time he gets in that starting position, Coach, because I know that he gets better. You can tell the next time he's able to start, he's just better. He's a better wrestler. He's got a little bit more confidence when he steps out on the mat. And I think that'll go into the conversation a little bit later with Mike, right? Like winning and being on that mat and winning helps. So it's going to be it's going to be fun to watch him. I will tell you that. Coach, we get to the 149 as a fan, right? And probably as a coach, you're like, well, here, we're going to grab some bonus points, right? Like we're going to separate a little bit from these guys. Again, I'm just going to say it. John knows I love that guy. Like he's a son, right? And I'm sure you feel the same way. They wrestled to their style, right? Like they didn't push the pace. We didn't control the mat on a lot of these individual duels and matches. Kind of the same way, not the typical John that we're used to seeing, really pushing the pace and the things that we know these guys for. Again, what us fans don't know, right, is where are they at, right? Have they been impacted by COVID? Are they coming off some injuries or that sort of thing? But, John's a guy, and he'll admit, I don't think he'd be afraid to admit it, to say he expected to get some bonus points for the team. And really didn't pull through and kept this match. I think after this one, it was still tied up 6-6 after John.
Yeah, I mean, we were definitely expecting to get bonus points there. And I think, it's not that John didn't try to score points. I mean, I think I counted in the first period and a half to 2 periods, he had 10 shots to the other wrestlers 2.
Easy.
So he was taking attempts, but, he's got to be able to secure those takedowns. He got to the leg, I think, 2 times and didn't score, let the wrestler get out of bounds. I think he was maybe kind of counting a little bit too much on getting a stall call and getting a little bit of help from the official, but you can't expect that. I mean, he's a returning All-American. He's got to be able to figure out a way to get a takedown, and even when the wrestler's entire job is to just stay away from you and keep the score low. And I think he just got a little bit frustrated and didn't get that done, and that really hurt us. When we got out of that match without bonus points. I'm sure that Chattanooga coaches were thinking, man, we are doing one great job of keep sticking with the game plan of this match. And, it's all right. I mean, like I said, the end result, we got the win, but, obviously that's a learning experience for John as well. Like, I mean, you got to go out and it's you got to be able to figure out a way to score even when the guy's not wrestling.
Yeah.
And you can't expect the referee to give you a call. Like, you've got to be able to earn it. So.
Yeah. And in their defense, right? Chattanooga's defense, this is right where you want it.
Yeah.
At this point, 4 matches in, this is exactly where you want it to be. This is the best scenario that you could have hoped for 4 matches in. Cody Bond, I'll be honest with you, Coach. Obviously everybody knows Mike Burchell had the performance that won the duel at the end. But if you look at it and you understand and watch the whole duel and understand where Cody Bond was at 30 seconds into this individual match, it's tough for me not to say that Cody Bond didn't have the performance of the duel. Like, this young man was down 6 points and fought his way back to taking the victory from this guy.
Yeah, I mean, anytime that you go down 6-0 in the first 45 seconds of a match, man, you really make it, extremely difficult to win that match. And not only did he come back and win the match, but he won it pretty convincingly. So I would agree with you. I would think that he probably had one of the, the best performances of the day. And definitely he don't do his job, that Mike doesn't have the opportunity to earn it with a pin.
Yeah. I mean, Cody was damn near in bonus points, Coach. I mean, he was getting up there. If he would have had another 30 seconds, he would have probably rang up some points on that young man. So, tremendous effort, come back to win that individual match 12-7. Go into the 165. We're not going to spend too much time here. I could tell on Formato's face at the end of that, and sudden victory, not what he expected. He's obviously been pushed the distance a handful of times this season so far, and really, in just my opinion, to give up that takedown to kind of some sloppy points, right? Like that was just a scramble that Will is just better than him at in controlling, and just really didn't control that scramble like we're used to Will controlling that situation. But took a loss there. Again, I think we're coming tied up again, right? Like going into Flitz at the 174. Flitz does what Flitz does. The team's there. The team needs him. Flitz steps up and does another performance on Tartar 9-3 decision.
Yeah, I think, though, that was another match where, Thomas did secure the win for us, but, I think he won by 6 points. We needed bonus points there. He needed to stretch that 6-point lead to 8 or more. Because, I'm knowing, when we get to his match, like, man, we got to get bonus points somewhere because we could definitely split these last 4 matches. And that's exactly what happened. And, I thought Thomas had a great opportunity to get bonus, and when he didn't, that was a little bit frustrating. But, like I said, those bonus points are, they're so crucial in these tight dual meets.
Yeah, definitely become tighter in the next 2. 184, we got a little bit of coaching involved here. If I'm not mistaken, they switched these 2 wrestlers, their starting lineup here. Went from what I think everybody else was expecting, Waddell, and put in Sell there. So a little bit of gamesmanship there from what they have been running, if I'm not mistaken, Coach, in their starting lineup. I know you probably don't keep up on that stuff that closely, but it was definitely noticed by a lot of the fans, at least in the broadcast. Barrett Blakely, another tough one, right? Like that young man had everything he needed to win that match, just didn't seal the deal in the sudden victory.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think he wrestled a bad match. I mean, he got several opportunities to score. He got out on bottom, and he got to the leg multiple times and just wasn't able to finish a takedown. And even in overtime, we get to the leg, we recover it twice, and then somehow give up a go behind. So, I mean, he wrestled hard. We just got to find a way to make more out of that match. We got to be able to, to get that takedown and secure that win.
Yeah, Barrett was definitely the aggressor, right? Like he took more shots. He was in on more shots. The other guy just took advantage of whether you call them mistakes or opportunities. He just took advantage of the right opportunities. Waddell and Wyatt, a tough one for Wyatt, right? Like Waddell he's a seasoned guy. He's been in the SoCon a while. He's a good wrestler for Chattanooga. Kind of knew that was going to be a dogfight for Wyatt stepping in at 197 there.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard it's a hard task to send Wyatt out there. I mean, you're talking about, Wyatt is a true freshman and kind of just got thrown in our lineup right after the Christmas break. I mean, when Mason Fasella tore his ACL, like, Wyatt was planning on redshirting, and so he gets pulled out of red shirt, and then, in a dual meet like that, he gets, a really good opponent. I think Waddell's been to the NCAA tournament multiple times, and, he's just growing, and he's maturing, and he's going to get better. I'm telling you, he will not be the same wrestler, a month from now that he is right now. And so he's getting better. He's actually had some good performances for us. Just a tough day in Chattanooga.
Yeah. Yeah. Going into heavyweight, Coach, after a major decision, obviously fans are fans. You're like, well, we're still in it. Obviously, Penn can win this thing. Outside of that, it's going to be a tough hill to climb. It's looking bleak at this point, right? Like if you're a fan and probably even part of the staff and some of the wrestlers, right? Like the chances of this happening, there's a chance. Mike Burchell steps in there, Coach, and delivers the pin to win this thing. And if I'm not mistaken, there at one point, the Chattanooga wrestler was maybe up by a takedown. Mike got an escape, got back on their feet, and I don't know the move that he uses, but he tries to get in this often. where he gets those, what is it called, Coach, where he has both of those arms wrapped up there and throws them?
He had double underhooks and got to a body lock.
There you go. He got to that body lock, Coach, and I will tell you right now, even the commentators knew the Chattanooga wrestler was in trouble. Mike threw this kid on the ground and got on top of him, and it still had 45 seconds left in that period. And I knew, and they knew, I think the fans knew, that it was just a matter of that shoulder touching down on the mat, and things were going to be over for him. And I would have given anything to be in that arena with you guys and the rest of those App State fans and team.
Yeah, talk about a swing of emotion. I mean, I think I knew there was a chance Mike would pin him. I knew that it was going to be tough, though, because they actually sent out a different wrestler than they normally wrestle, a little bit smaller heavyweight, and I think they thought he could, try to stay away from Mike for 7 minutes. I think that was his whole job, was to just avoid contact, avoid wrestling. Mike went out over aggressive, got taken down, which it didn't matter. I mean, we knew he was going to have to get him to his back at some point. And then I think they had scouted Mike, knew, he had a good pinning combination on top. So they choose neutral. And then, Mike just got to his ties, forced the double unders and, got to the body lock and ended up securing the fall for us. And man, you want to talk about a pretty high emotion when that ref slapped him, when Mike threw him to his back. Cause I pretty much knew once Mike got him on his back, it was over. I mean, he had that baby locked up tight, and when you got a guy that weighs 250 pounds on top of your chest, it's hard to get off your back. So I felt pretty good. We were going to get the fall at that point, but man, what a turn of emotions.
Yes, sir. And it's
like it.
Yeah, and it's funny because the way this duel played out is the exact way that the duel that everybody from the program within the past 5 years talks about being their favorite duel, like the carry. Right, when he pins, they go into the sudden victory or whatever it means that it takes to get the pin to win those duels down there. As a matter of fact, I think the last time we had Cody Russell on there, he talked about a duel down at Chattanooga that went into the heavyweight to win the duel. So it's kind of ironic that we get back to the same opponent, the same location, the same weight class that takes the same effort, and we continue to get to that point. Obviously, we haven't in the past 3 decades always been on that winning end, but when you can go down there, Coach, and being on that winning end and come away with a victory like that, is simply amazing. I mean, even watching this from my living room here and not being able to be there was something I'll never forget. Just an experience. I knew what you guys were going through. Obviously saw a couple of the App State fans there and the regulars in the crowd there. Had to be a special moment for sure for you and the team.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you like I said, anytime you get a road win over Chattanooga and put yourself in a position where you're competing for a conference championship this weekend is a big deal. And so, I can't say enough great things about Mike for stepping up when the team needed him. I mean, he had to put the team on his back and, had to go out and do something that was a lot of pressure on him for. So couldn't be more proud of him and, thankful to be in this position.
Coach, this isn't the first time Mike's pinned a Chattanooga wrestler either. If I'm not mistaken, this is like his 3rd time that he's pinned a Chattanooga wrestler down there or up here, or a combination of both. So he's that's
a Brett Strelo question. I don't keep up with the stats that closely, Jeremy. So you're gonna have to. Mike can probably tell you, but you have to have Brett Strelo. I don't have that good of a memory.
Either do I, but I believe I've seen it.
I'll definitely remember this pin. I will not forget this pin, but the other ones I can't tell you.
Yeah, for sure. Coach, we've got a match in Varsity Gym this Sunday, 2 p.m. if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a big one.
Biggest one of the season, Coach, as we always say, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Coach, I seen your little press conference snip from athletics this afternoon talking about the environment in Varsity Gym. Again, folks, if you missed the Sunday duel in Chattanooga, it's on ESPN Plus. A large percentage of App State fans have ESPN Plus because that's where they are the majority of the time. Coach, what is Sunday going to be like in Varsity Gym?
Well, I think it's going to be a very intense environment, Jeremy. I mean, I fully expect us to have a packed house, standing room only, very similar to the NC State crowd we had earlier this year. And it's for a championship, and I think that obviously, we've got two very passionate fan bases and, two really good teams, battling it out in varsity gym, which is, that's what you want. You want to be competing for a championship, and our guys are extremely motivated, and I know they're extremely motivated, so it's going to be a great battle.
Yeah, they are as motivated or more, right? They love nothing more, I can tell you right now, than to beat App State, especially in Boone. So, Coach, look forward to seeing you Sunday in Boone. Wish you safe travels. Bring some more hammers. See if you can find a few more of those Will Formatos down there in Georgia.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Coach. Appreciate you joining us.
Yep. Have a good night.
You too. Let's go check in with the man. He's a little bit sideways. Let's see if we can get him in a little bit better view. I know that's a little bit. There we go, Mike. Mike, man, it's good to finally have you on an episode.
Yeah, man, feels good to be on. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, anytime. It led to an interesting duel down there in Chattanooga for you. I don't recall, and again, my memory is not as great as a lot of the others that are involved in the program. Was this your first pin to win for a duel for the team?
Yeah, it was the first time I've pinned someone to win, but last year when we went against Chattanooga, I had to do a similar thing. Came down to the last match, and I had to beat their heavyweight.
Nice. So your first pin to win. I thought there was something in the back of my mind that said that kind of Mike has been in this position before against Chattanooga. So it's good to see that you come through. So going into, I mean, I've never been in that position, right? Like I've never stepped onto a mat in a D1 environment against a rival where you're the guy that controls what's going to happen in this duel, and it's going to take a pin to win this. What is your thought when you walk out on the mat to get this individual match underway?
Well, I've been there before in my career twice, so I've kind of gotten used to it. It's never easy, but you honestly just have to go in there as relaxed as possible. If you can't let the hype get to you, and like you can't really think, like, oh, I gotta do this. You just gotta go out there and wrestle your usual game. Keep it in the back of your head. But the worst thing to do is get nervous and let the hype get to you, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's a pretty interesting take on it, because I think I'd be the exact opposite. Like I would go out there probably wearing the weight of the team on my shoulders. So is your approach when you go into a situation like that? Every wrestler has kind of their strengths and weaknesses. Are you just looking for the opportunity to lock that up and to get that throw started?
I was kind of just taking what he was giving me, and he was just running away the whole time in the first, really. And, in the second, he'd pick neutral, and he was backing up again, and I felt him put his arms up. So I got the double underhooks, and I knew I can throw him. I just felt it, so I went for it, and it worked out.
It worked out perfect. You ended up on top of him with 45 seconds left in the period, which he could have had another partner out there with 45 seconds left, and I think you'd have still got the win, the pin for the win.
I think so too. Yeah.
So Mike, this is your first time on the podcast with us, on the episode. You come from Connecticut, correct?
Yep, Madison, Connecticut.
Nice. So what's your time in Boone been like so far? What's your experiences? How do you like Boone in the App State community?
It's been fun. It's different, adjusting. The culture's a little different in the South than it is in the North, but Honestly, I like North Carolina. I think it's a great state, and it's been fun in Boone. I've met a lot of good people.
Nice. You've had some great people to learn behind. Obviously, behind Kerry, Scary Kerry for a large part of his time here, and able to kind of thrive off of that. You obviously have a coach with Randall that was in those upper weight classes. What's kind of been the solid thing that's like continued to push you? Because last year, right, and I just say this out of all due respect, last year's Michael Burchell to this year's Michael Burchell, for me, and I think probably the average App State fan, is almost like two different young men, right? Like your performance this year is not who you were last year. What gets you to that point to where you're at this year, and in the starting role again to where you're pinning it to win it in Chattanooga? You're stepping out on the mat on a regular basis and taking wins from opponents.
Well, I think a lot of it had to do with training all summer and not going home. It's really where you really jump levels is when you stay in the summer and the off season and outwork everyone who's taking time off. And also the freestyle tournaments we did, I feel like that helped me a lot too. And last year, I feel like I didn't take it as serious. I didn't even know if I was gonna have a season with the whole COVID thing. And this year, I promised myself really that I wouldn't let what happened last year happen again. So I've really done everything in my power to jump levels.
And I will tell you, young man, you've definitely jumped levels from the first duel where you step on the mat. And I don't remember the gentleman that was next to me, but I remember tapping him on the shoulder, and I'm like, that is a different beast out there this year. I mean, the look, the way you carry yourself, the confidence that you have on the mat, all of it, completely different wrestler. So whatever you did this offseason, keep that mentality up because you're on to something there for sure.
Thank you.
All right, Mike. I think I think the internet connection might be a little bit slow, so there's a little bit of delay here. Tell us about some of the characters on the team. We won't keep it all about wrestling and talking about your progression here at Boone, but who are some of the guys on the team that kind of make training fun and the coaching staff and on the your teammates?
I would have to say Chopper's a pretty funny guy. I feel like everyone likes him. He's always cracking jokes. Who else is there? Will. He's just a good leader, and he's a good captain and a good friend, and he's good at motivating people. John as well. It's good having an All-American in the room. He's a funny guy as well. Anyone who's been with him can tell you the same. He's always cracking jokes. Just a lot of great guys on the team, and we all have a close relationship, so it's hard to single certain guys out. We all like each other, and I feel like that's what kind of separates us from other teams as well, is everyone on this team likes each other. It's almost like a family.
Nice. You come across, whenever I see you in the wrestling room or at the events or anywhere else, you always come across as kind of a quiet guy in the group. Is that kind of who you are amongst the team?
I've always been like that throughout my life. I've been real quiet, and once you get to know me, I definitely open up more. Around the team, I'm definitely not as quiet, but I talk to all the guys. I have a good relationship with them all, but I'm pretty antisocial until you get to know me, so it's probably pretty typical.
Yeah, night until you get on the mat with you, and then once you get on the mat with you, it's all over.
Yeah, man. I mean, they will be this week for this Campbell kid. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I will tell you right now, there's a couple of I'm looking forward to the entire duel, but there's a couple of individual matches that I am definitely looking forward to, and I can't tell you how much I'm looking forward to this heavyweight match. So definitely will be there involved. Tell us a little bit about the atmosphere in Varsity Gym for you. What's it like to be able to wrestle in that environment as an App State wrestler?
Oh, it's awesome. I mean, you go to other places, like we went to Duke. I think they had maybe 10 people in the crowd. I mean, you go to App State, you go to Varsity Gym, it's packed every time. I mean, even when we went against, Gardner Webb, it was not as packed as, it's going to be this weekend, but we're always bringing a lot of people, and it's easy to feed off of that energy.
Yeah, I think that's definitely the key, right? Is feeding off that energy. Campbell coming to town on Sunday. We need all the people and the support we can get in the stands to help these student athletes feed off of that energy. Mike, we definitely appreciate your time tonight, man. I'm looking forward to having you back on. Hope you have a great Sunday duel against Campbell. Hope you have a tremendous SoCon tournament and continue into the off season, into the Nationals. So good luck. Great win down in Chattanooga, man. I'm one of the heavier guys, so I definitely appreciate seeing the big guy pull away and take a pin to win down there.
Yeah, I appreciate it, and appreciate you having me on. It was fun, and I hope your week goes well, and looking forward to Campbell. That's all I can say.
Yeah. Go beat up Campbell on Sunday, and we'll definitely have you back on after the season for sure.
Sounds good. Have a good one.
You too, sir. Have a good night. Hey, it's as I said before, it's always these guys, right? Talking to the student athletes, talking to Mike Burchell. Good to chat with him. Obviously, a little bit difficult. I apologize for that with a little bit of a delay there in his internet connection, but we'll get him on again, talk a little bit more about his time there in Boone and some of the things he likes in Boone. Hey, Sunday, 2 p.m. at Varsity Gym. Listen, it was at 3 p.m., folks. They understood where people wanted to be for the Super Bowl, bumped it back an hour. It's now starting at 2 p.m. in Varsity Gym. I'm going to tell you right now, if you're an App State fan and you're an hour from Boone, an hour and a half, and you're not in Varsity Gym on Sunday, I don't know that I can talk to you anymore. No, it'll be a good time. If you're there, if you're in the area and have the time and want to see something, experience something about App State that you've not been a part of before, or even if you have, stop in there to Varsity Gym. I will tell you right now, that environment is going to be unlike anything you've experienced on campus before. These guys are legitimately going to stand toe-to-toe against the toughest team in the SoCon at this point, without a doubt, for what could be the Southern Conference Championship. So definitely could use your support. If you show up there, definitely try to stop by and say hi. It'd be great to meet you, and definitely appreciate your support in the program and what we're doing here. Go follow us, like us, subscribe to us, retweet us, give us a rating, whatever it may be. Go over and subscribe to us on Rockfin. Help us pay that bill for streaming these events this year, because it has not been cheap. I can promise you that. We definitely appreciate that support and have appreciated everybody that supported us and provided those tips for us during the events. Been good. Hey, I'm excited. Coming off a great duel in Chattanooga and an outstanding win and pin to win by Bruchell. Going up to the toughest two duels back to back of our conference is tough. So hope to see some of you there supporting the program. It's been fun. I look forward to chatting with the folks and JohnMark, Coach JohnMark, after this one's over. Appreciate everybody, and go Apps.
This has been a production by Yosef Media.